KRSB Network, the sports come alive. Deep into HBCU sports, the players and more. Bird's eye view, the podcast you can't ignore. Catch it now, KRSB Network.
Welcome to Bird's Eye View, episode number 4. I'm your host, Kia Byrd. And as always, I have my co-host, my brother, have to make sure I say that,
Right.
and my friend, Mr. Orlando Hughes. And tonight's title is called Daddy Issues, question mark.
What you mean?
So tonight, O and I are going to get into whether or not the sports world in particular embraces strong father figures. Now, even if you are just a casual sports viewer, mostly everybody has had their opinion on whether or not LeBron James Jr. Is in the NBA by his own merit, or if it was only because of who his dad is. So we're going to open up the discussion tonight with an opinion from a real stand-up dad, a very present dad, very much involved with his kids' dad, knows them like the back of his hand dad, Mr. Orlando Hughes. And I want to ask you, do you feel any negativity towards LeBron James Jr. being in the NBA alongside his father?
I don't feel any negativity towards that as a dad. And I apologize, folks. I got a little bit of a hum, and I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I'm going to work to get it resolved shortly. I don't feel any negativity. We did not invent fathers.
Nepotism?
Yes, definitely nepotism. We didn't invent that as Black folks. So I don't have an issue. Is a young man ready for the league? Maybe not. But there is nothing wrong with the father identifying at a younger age, setting a plan, whether it be on paper or on computer, that this was a goal achieved for the James family, that they wanted LeBron and Bronny, as he's referred to, but LeBron James Jr., to be playing in the league at the same time. Moreover, on the same team, the Los Angeles Lakers, and they achieved that. So, as another Black father, I can't be mad at a man taking care of his son. Can't be mad at that. So, really not any.
I mean, I don't think it's even something to necessarily be mad about, but you know, I'm always here for the comments when I'm looking at social media posts, and some people are really angry that he was positioned to be in the NBA, thinking that he wasn't deserving. But it seems to me like, especially in the sports world, that Black fathers are not embraced when they have strong personalities. They don't mind the quiet dad sitting in the stands and the camera pans over to them and they give a little wave. But when we're talking about the LeVar Balls of the league and the T. Morant, and, you know, Al Horford's dad is very present, but he's more mild.
Yeah, quiet.
Quiet in the crowd. But it seems like the storyline is always set up for the struggling single mom. That's the storyline that they love to embrace.
Yeah, and before we even get into the single mom narrative theme soap opera, and we got to celebrate, you know, Southwest Philly's own Joe Jellybean Bryant, Bartram High School, 76er, Clipper, played overseas. And I know this Bird's Eye View audience know who Jellybean is. He's the father of Kobe, the late Kobe Bryant, the Hall of Famer, top 5 NBA player of all time, irregardless. Some people argue where he is, but he's top 5 in the history of the league. So that's saying enough. But Jelly Bean passed today at the age of 70, KB. That's still young.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still young.
Yeah. And I knew him from going to school with the Bryant kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen him not pleasant.
Yeah.
Whenever he would walk into the gymnasium, I've ran into him when they were still living in the area in the stores. And he always was very, just warm smile, pleasant, a gentle giant type man. And I know that it's going to be a big loss for the Bryant family. So my prayers and condolences go out to all of them.
Yeah, and ditto for me as well. Strong energy vibes out to the Bryant family. But when you talk about dads and nepotism looking out, and you open it up with LeBron, hell, we've had nepotism in the highest office of this land.
We do, but nobody's talking also about Jenny Buss.
Oof.
I mean, it's not like she went into a department store and bought the Lakers.
Right, the Roonies.
That was
if you want
passed
to bring
down
it
to her.
If you want to talk about the ownership factor, there is nothing but nepotism. You got the Clarks for the Kansas City Chiefs. You have the Rooney family, on the other side of, you were just there. Yeah, that's right. You were road tripping to Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. In Pittsburgh with the Steelers. I mean, it's all over. Jerry Jones, who's his right-hand man? His son, right? So we'd love to look at things with the old school 3D glasses.
Yeah.
And don't take them off once you leave the movie theater. Those things are supposed to be disposed of, people, once you walk out of the theater. And I view that in the sense of, this is how a lot of people look at life. There is nothing wrong with LeBron James having his son playing in the NBA. And really, it's none of our damn business, if you really want to be honest. Like, so what?
I think the root of it is jealousy.
Well,
because most fathers who have a son or a daughter, now that the WNBA is a thing, that has a child that plays sports, they always have big dreams of their child playing at the next level. And it's not, of course, a reality for most people, but for people to feel like he jumped the line, it creates jealousy. And I think it's sad because, to me, it seems like it would be more of an encouraging thing to see that a man of status, a man of a certain character, was able to usher his son to the next level.
Right.
So for a man who may be a plumber or anything, for him to be able to usher his son in a positive way to the next level is something in my mind that should be celebrated and not talked about in a bad way.
So let's look at the other side of this, KB. So I got some stats here, right? So a 2019 study by the University of South Carolina found that 68% of the featured stories about African-American athletes focused on absent fathers or single mothers, compared to just 17% for white athletes. This disparity is striking and raises questions about the narratives we're perpetuating. So the family dynamic, the National Center for Educational Stats report that about 70% of African-American children are born to unmarried mothers. However, this statistic does not tell the story. CDC shows that African American fathers are more likely to be involved in their children's daily lives than fathers from other racial groups, regardless of whether or not they live with their children. Let's repeat that. A CDC study shows that African American fathers are more likely to be involved in their children's daily lives than fathers from other racial groups, regardless of where they study. So that means African American, term I don't like, but the Native American Black people in this country, the men aren't running away as the narrative is saying. So whether they're home or not home, now we do got a plenty of deadbeats. We don't need to get into that. But the narrative is they're not leaving. They are involved in the day-to-day lives of their children.
But that doesn't play into the human interest story, which is, the Kevin Durant type speeches of, I remember when it was just my mom and I, and she's the real MVP. And I'm not trying to dismiss that story at all, or that storyline, because a lot of women have had to play the role of being the nurturer, the disciplinarian, and everything else. But like you just said in that statistic, it's not the only storyline that's true, but it seems to be the only storyline that the masses are interested in.
Right.
And one of my absolute favorite sports dad is Mr. Richard Williams. The way he was willing to distract the media with his antics or his answers, and the way he really protected his daughters from the back and the front was beautiful.
Right.
Like, people knew, even though they were treated with harshness and racism, people knew to straighten it up, and not too much when their dad was around, because he had no problem checking them. And a lot of times that rubs people the wrong way.
So let's consider this, KB. Is it the responsibility of sports media in shaping these narratives and potential consequences for athletes, their families, and society at large?
I don't know if it's this. I do put some of the sports media. I do put part of the responsibility on them, because it's about investigating the storyline and diving deep into it. Like Jason Tatum, you always see him being interviewed with his mom, or his mom being the focal point.
Right.
But his dad is very much involved. If I'm not mistaken, his dad may have a coaching position with the Boston Celtics G League team.
I'm not sure, but I know his dad was there.
I know he's involved.
Yeah.
He's not, a Tyler Perry movie character that shows up at draft day like, here I am, son. No, he's there.
Tyler.
But they would rather focus on his mother.
Tyler, the last movie, we got to do better. We got to do better.
I'm not even watching that. My TV said, don't you dare.
We got to do better. I couldn't get through the first 5 minutes. We got to do better. We have to. You have to.
But that's the storyline that sells. That's what people want to see. Anytime you turn on reality TV right now, it's always a toxic relationship amongst African Americans, whether it's, women against women, or men and women fighting one another. That's the storyline that they want to highlight and portray.
Well, I don't believe in reality TV, because the television itself is reality TV to me. Like, we had something that happened, Butler County, PA, Pittsburgh, basically, the other day, that was very reality TV, that we're not going to touch it yet. But that was they
don't you dare say WWE.
No,
don't you do it.
I'm not, but I was going to say that was Flavor of Love type reality TV.
Yeah. Oh, of course. it until all of the storylines are pulled out and there's a thorough investigation. I'm gonna hold my thoughts back some. But yeah, a lot of things are put on TV to make us believe something that's not true.
Right. So
And that goes from politics to sports to business.
right. So let's get back into this, KB. What
Mhm.
is daddy issues though? Like we named the show Daddy Issues. What do we
Mhm.
mean by daddy issues?
I mean, by daddy issues, I think my thought was how dads don't get celebrated um, when it comes to the role that they play with their children.
You think not?
They get yeah they don't get the same accolades and flowers that the moms get.
Hell no.
And yeah,
Driving
I
all the way
know
to Manhattan
I know,
today.
but I just I had strong opinions about the whole Bronny James thing, and just
Right.
being a sports person, I know that there's other 19-year-olds that are more talented than him, but I had no issue with LeBron James, whether you like him, love him, or whatever, one of the best basketball players to ever lace them up. He had a dream of being in the NBA with his son, and he maintained his body, his health long enough for him to still be a dominant figure in the league at 39 years old. And for his son, whether they play 2 minutes or go into overtime battle with one another, he made that dream come into reality.
He's definitely on that
And
Dick
to,
Gregory. Brian is definitely
it's
on that Dick Gregory.
yeah, it's okay if it's a street scenario when it's like, yeah, your dad was the man back in the day. I remember when he had 60th Street on lock. Like, people want to celebrate those kind of stories and retell those stories,
Right.
but become angry when it's a story of triumph, like a son and a dad playing at the highest level together.
Yeah. And, and they are not the first. I mean, father, they're the first to play together in the NBA. But we've had it
Oh,
in
of course.
we've had it in baseball. You know, Ken Griffey Jr. and his dad,
Hmm.
junior and
Hmm.
senior played together for the Seattle Mariners. We've had it on a few occasions in baseball, but it's the first time in basketball. And basketball is what, 85 years old? The NBA itself.
Yeah.
So this is amazing that the James family has set the plateau as to where you're going to go. And as KB said, LeBron had to keep himself as a main attraction to facilitate all of this, because if he had, I don't want to say that these people fall off, but had he gone the way of Vince Carter in his 40s,
Hmm.
the Lakers would have
Hmm.
told him, go pound rocks. We're not drafting your kid. But because he is who he is, he's able to make that happen with his demands.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of people think that fairness should be available in every area in life, but it's never fair. It's
No,
never fair. And there are um times when it may anger people, but you got to get over that. And to me, like I said, it should be an area that would encourage other fathers to be more involved and more intentional about the way that they guide their children to the next level.
that intentional.
How they're involved in their education and their moral molding. To be
Right,
involved in every aspect, not just on Saturday mornings when it's practice, but in every area of life,
right.
to be more involved.
Yeah, we gotta send some love to Brother Miguel Loy, who was up here last week or the week before, traveling with his daughter for AAU basketball, coming from
Yeah.
Atlanta, going out to Manheim, Pennsylvania, um, for a
Good old
ball.
spooky note.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are a lot
I
of
mean,
dads.
even as a kid, like I can remember, when my dad would be working and I might be on the foul line and look up and just I would see his boots coming into the gym. He would come watch the game. I could hear him in the stands. He would say bye to me after the game and go back to work.
Wow.
Fathers matter. And
Yes.
those are the things that you never forget and you never take for granted as a kid,
No.
especially kids that don't have um that role model in their life.
Yeah. And I will say, as a dad, you're important to your kids, but
Hmm.
look at your role in their friends' lives. They look
Hmm.
up to you as well, and they see what you do.
Hmm.
Um, that
Yeah.
that's key.
So that was my reason for wanting to do the show on daddy issues, just to kind of celebrate and talk about dads that are doing the right thing, that are showing their kids values and guiding them. And some kids unfortunately don't have earthly fathers to do that, but hey, you always got a heavenly father too that is always present as well. But if that's not introduced to you, then you may not know that either.
All right.
And I think with the James family, it's important to look at the entire picture because LeBron James was raised by a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to accomplish great things,
Mm-hmm.
but when he became a father, he broke the generational curse.
Bingo.
He married his high school sweetheart. They stayed together and created a complete family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing to celebrate, the breaking of the generational curse.
Key. Key. Yeah. Very key. Breaking generational curses. You hear me moan and complain and bitch all day about us continuing the cycle of some of these
Mhm.
curses, and
Mhm.
not stepping up to the plate as fathers and as mothers. Drives
Mhm.
me. Nah, I'm not gonna say it. I'm
Oh,
not gonna.
now you restraining yourself.
Yeah, I am
Oh,
restraining
mm.
myself. I'm gonna be good because
Eh, okay.
I'm daddy free for at least 8 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, bye.
But I mean, a parent's job is never completed.
I'm free for 8 days.
You're free from the physical part of it, but never free from the mental part of it.
Right, right.
Because when you're locked in, they're never far from your thoughts, ever.
Oh boy.
I mean, stop me when I'm lying.
Listen, Cinque, give us free. I'm free.
What? We speak English on this podcast. What do you say?
Give us free. I'm free
Oh,
for
okay.
8 days.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, I think that we covered a lot in this episode of Bird's Eye View
We
with
did.
daddy issues. Shout out to all the incredible fathers, grandfathers, uncles,
Hmm.
mentors, community leaders. We talked a lot about men last week when we went into mental health,
Right.
Men's Mental Health Month, um, and it's time to celebrate.
Yeah.
Celebrate the men that are doing the right thing.
And I gotta give a shout out. Listen, I met Aaron Campbell from Level Up Philadelphia, who
Hmm.
is running a I don't even know how to describe it. Level Up is taking
A fun place, the way you
yeah,
described it.
it's a fun place, but I don't even know how to describe it. So it's he's making young people's lives down there in West Philadelphia fun. From the virtual gaming, technology, a clean space, fun space, a lot of things to do in there. And they are disrupting the Apple Card. And I got to give him a definite shout out for what he's doing and his group that are there. So, yeah, met you one day, but we're going to talk some more because I can't show up tomorrow without a kid. I got to borrow a kid for somebody. So if you want to loan me your son, I can sneak back in there to play.
If I want to.
So I can play. Yo, he had the video game of Punch Out, KB. The real video game of Punch Out. And it worked. No broken controllers. Like, I played it like 4 times. Well, I may borrow somebody's kid, go somewhere, grab it.
Yeah,
I think I got a little cousin.
Don't make the evening news, please. Don't do that.
All right.
Don't do that.
Take us home, Mom.
We, as always, we want to thank you for tuning in to Bird's Eye View. We're having so much fun getting into some of these subjects and bouncing some of the ideas off of one another. We appreciate all of the feedback that we're getting from the people that are listening. So
yeah, thank you for support.
Again, episode 4, Daddy Issues. I'm KB.
I'm Orlando.
Orlando Hughes. We out.
All right.
June in the Bird's Eye View. KB, your host with the crew on the KRSB Network. The sports come alive. Deep into HBCU sports, the players and more. Bird's Eye View, the podcast you can't ignore. Catch it now on KRSB.